Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
In today's episode, we will be interviewing Kristin Lee. She is the author of a couple different books, the owner of the Bellaire House, a psychic medium. She's also starting a new show that will be out eventually. We don't know the details of that yet, which is going to be called Paranormal Apprentice, so there's a lot to talk about. But we will get right into it, and we start by having her introduce herself.
So thanks for having me on. I'm Kristin Lee. I own the Bellaire House Afterlife Research Center. I've been in paranormal and researching the paranormal since probably as an investigator and researcher since 2010 through 2011. I do work full-time as a psychic medium. I do have a private clientele that I work I work with them through the phone because of COVID. Let's see. I'm with Wiser, Red Wheel, Hampton Road. Hampton Road is my publisher, but they're sister company to Wiser and Red Wheel Publishing out of Massachusetts. So I am an author as well. And now I'm going to be an executive producer and creator of a paranormal reality TV show. So a lot has changed over a year.
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah. We'll kind of start here because I'm just kind of curious. That's obviously you're very into we'll just call it the paranormal field, I guess. What kind of sparked such an interest in that?
Well, it was my home. The Bellaire House was my home.
Oh, okay.
And trying to identify what was inside of our home, it was a big deal. But then, after we were able to identify what was in the home, and through a lot of help of different paranormal teams, like back in the day, Ohio Valley Paranormal Researchers, they were out of Portsmouth, Ohio, Mike and Amanda McAllister. Kentucky Ghost Hunters, they're, out of Kentucky, of course, but then Eyes of Paranormal too, Levi and Ashley, they helped out a lot too. So we had like three different, pretty much the same teams coming in to do over 1,000 hours worth of research on the Bellaire House as we were a family. And that's when I really wasn't a paranormal researcher. I didn't know that there was paranormal equipment. I didn't know that there was I still have my old hack shack that they actually bought me. But I still have that because it's a wonderful piece of equipment. And just to remember that was the first piece of equipment I actually heard an EVP, or not an EVP, but a little child spirit named Emily Davis come through and say, "Hi, Kristin," through the old hack shack. So that was my very first audible spirit that ever came to me from the Bellaire House. So I like to whip that out sometimes and then put it right beside Stephen Huff's portal and be like, this is what we used to be back in the day. And now, with technology and everything, that we've come such a long way as a community, as a science, because I know a lot of people don't think that the paranormal is a science, but it is. And especially when you coincide the psychological parts of supernatural as well as the physiological parts of it, how it affects our physiological body, how it affects our psychological when we're going into locations, when we're all tensed up because something is there. And then the energy how it drains us because something is physiologically draining us. That's how we can start to throw in that science part of it. And I think that needs to be done because it's very important for all of us to understand that, investigating the paranormal, yes, it's fun, but it's also very dangerous too. It truly is. It can put you in bed for 5 to 6 days at a time. And I'm witness to that. That's happened to me. And, people can combat and say, well, you have to block and shield and put a big bubble around yourself. And, well, that doesn't always work now, does it? No.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I just started today with somebody that is very special to me. We are putting together an actual thesis to prove that the paranormal is a science. So I will be publishing a thesis here, and I will have an opportunity to defend the thesis in front of a panel of medical doctors and psychologists. A lot of people don't know I did spend a lot of time. I did hard time in an academic institution. I spent a lot of money for it. I am a trained forensic psychologist, but
Okay.
I don't practice. Yeah, I don't practice psychology anymore. I did for years, but after a while, the things that we're taught in up to graduate level of college, they teach us not to, well, first of all, they teach us to discount auditorial. They blame auditory and visual hallucinations on schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. Actually, in the DSM, it is labeled schizoaffective disorder. Anything with mysticism, anything with God, anything to do with what we do, is we would all be labeled, either schizophrenic or have schizoaffective disorder. So in my experiences of actually seeing full-fledged apparitions and 5 or 6 people with me to know that they saw them too,
Right.
clearly we're not schizophrenic. Clearly we don't have the typical cognitive challenges like some people that need medication to help them be successful and to be balanced in their lives do. So that's what my big deal is. This year, amongst other things, I want to be able to defend that thesis and be able to try to make a platform for all of us, not just me, every person that has seen, felt, heard, something that was not normal
Right.
in our society. So I think that's going to be a big challenge, of course, but it's, when have I ever lost a challenge? When have I ever given up on? I've never given up on a challenge. So I'm ready for it. And I'm going to make sure that, I work very hard and diligently to make sure that all of us are represented the right way that we need to be represented. So
Right. Yeah.
that's that.
No, yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. And I 100% agree because that does, as you saying, like with people basically wanting to say that you have some kind of disorder. I mean, I feel like anything that's not proven by science or isn't understand, that's kind of, they want to like slap a label on it and be like, take this medication, feel better, but like, as you're saying, like 5 people in the same room seeing the same thing, that's not some kind of disorder. That is something that's happening.
Yeah.
Explain it how you want, but it's not. Yeah.
Just a few months ago, a new family doctor that I started to go to, which I'm not going to anymore, but he said, well, you seem to be depressed. Well, look at 2020. Who isn't
Who
depressed?
isn't? Like,
Let
yeah.
me write you this script. I was like, why are you giving me a psychotropic? I don't need psychotropics. I don't, I get the fact that I might be vitamin D deficient, but that's a quick fix with a vitamin.
Right.
But who isn't depressed in this world right now? We all have depression at some level, but it isn't like, the serotonin and the dopamine is like all dried up inside of my head or your heads or anything like that. But for doctors to be the quick fix, let me write the script, let me write the script. I don't agree with that. And that's why I left the field. It's one of the major reasons why I left the field. I don't buy into the man's theories, and I just not anymore. Not anymore.
Right. No,
No.
no, I definitely understand that. So I guess I didn't realize. So the Bellaire House, like you grew up there then?
No, no. Our
Or it's
family
just in
was
the,
affected by 2 flash floods and we were homeless. And then I found the Bellaire House on a foreclosed list. And we didn't know the history of
okay.
Bellaire. I wasn't from Bellaire. I was born in Bellaire, but I didn't grow up in Bellaire. But we didn't know any of the history. We didn't know the house was haunted until about 2 weeks after we moved in. And
And then it
yeah,
was like,
and
hey,
I
I'm
was still in
haunted. Yeah.
denial. Yeah. I was in denial, not the river in Egypt. But I mean, I was so like, I thought that because we had gone through the floods, it was a traumatic situation. Perhaps it could have been some PTSD. Who knows what it could have been. Plus, I was still finishing up my graduate degree. I was working 2 jobs. I mean, everything that you could possibly think of, it just wasn't paranormal. I blame psychology more than I did until finally I couldn't anymore. There was no mental health explanation for what happened.
So what kind of
Yeah.
just a couple, like what was some of the first things when you after moved into this place that were kind of like that's weird?
Well, those great big boxes of tile, not the wee little tile that we put in the showers, but like the floor tile, like the
Yeah.
Spanish tile we put on floors. One of those humongous boxes came up missing. And I didn't do it. And I promise you, I didn't do it unless I was in some sort of psychosis where I don't remember that I did it, but I don't believe that I was. The kids were too small and they weren't beefy enough to pick it up. And Hefe, who was my son's father, he claims he didn't do it either. Where did it go? Then where did the hammer go? Where did the screwdriver go? Where is all this stuff going? But then just some of the more horrific parts of it was seeing things physically being thrown at you, seeing objects actually, and I'm just going to briefly touch on this. I'm not going to go into it because media always twists it. I'm not saying you guys are going to, but I just, rule of thumb, I don't go into it too much. But seeing our family dog plunged up against the wall out of no reason, just there she was, plunged. And that was honestly, that was the last straw. That was the breaking point. And I was like, we've got to get the hell out of this house or one of us is going to die. Somebody's going to die. I mean, because if some type of entity, energy, inhuman, if you will, could physically pick up a 65, 70-pound pit bull mix and plunge it up against the wall, what could it have done to one of the kids?
Yeah.
So that's at that pivotal point. We had to go. We left, and my God, was that a struggle because here we are with a mortgage, and then we had to find a place to live quickly, and then pay rent and a mortgage, and it's like, whoa, that's too much, and that's why my heart goes out to all the families that are going through things like this, and that's why I kind of have flipped my degree and tailored it to where I need to tailor it to be able to help counsel families that are going through these types of issues. And I mean, I do go in, with a fistful of nails because, some families want to be on TV, some families
Right.
want that recognition, and some families truly are mentally ill. And with my credentials, I can be able to decipher which is what, which is what. And be able to help the people that truly go through this. Now, is there a lot of people that actually have a legit haunting? I would say probably out of 5, maybe 2, but the rest of them are just, not.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I definitely understand that, because I mean, like, there's so many things, where people just, I mean, some people are just paranoid. There's a million different reasons why someone might think that something's happening to them. I mean, I have freaky things happen all the time, and it's just like, is that paranormal? Or is it just like, would something just like fall because I don't know, like there's a semi outside? I don't know. It's kind of like, and and something happening a certain amount of times can just really make people kind of go down that way. So this, because like on the website, like you have it listed as metaphysician. So that's basically what you mean by, because I had there's a question exactly what that means, and so you basically help people with like specifically traumatic experience dealing with the paranormal.
Yes, that part of it too. But in order to get a title of a metaphysician, you have to be trained in the occult.
Okay.
You have to be trained in herbology, Christology. It's nothing that you can buy online. I mean, you can see Google degrees in metaphysics, and you can pay $49.99 or maybe some other odd number, and you can have that certificate come to your home. I literally had to go train in Salem, Massachusetts, and I trained there for years, 12 years,
Oh, wow.
in order to receive that title. So I was a high priestess of a coven, and I did run chapters Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, I believe all the way up to Kentucky. But there's only so much of me that I can give to other people, and it came to the point in my life where I'm like, no more. I need to sit down and eat a pizza and watch the Golden Girls on a Friday night instead of crisis counseling, metaphysical counseling. So I did that probably 2008, I think it was 17 that I had left on sabbatical, and then I just resigned. Yeah, so I'm no longer, I don't hold the title as a high priestess, so I can't do marriage ordinations or um, do 501c3 nonprofit organizations anymore. I can't do any of that. But what I can do is still share my knowledge and still help people when I feel like I have the energy to do it. Because I mean, let's face it, what we do, it does drain our energy. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the batteries are dead again. Well, we're the battery. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like we have to recharge, and it does take an awful lot of self-care, and especially, doing, sometimes 40 hours a week on the horn with people, doing mediumship with people, helping people get through not only connecting to their deceased loved ones, but also the grief counseling that comes with that. Yeah, you can go to a medium all day long and you can receive those answers from Uncle Joe or Aunt Frances or whatever. But then what? Then you got to go through the 7 stages of grief. Then you've got to get through the whole, physiological, psychological part of actually letting go. And I think that part of my life is what I'm most proud of, because the last time I checked, I think I did, when I started working, well, I would work with a couple different companies doing that. One company, I think it was up to like 13,800 and some 60 readings. And then I started my own private practice now on it's called Keen Psychics. And I just started that in, I think, February, and I'm up to like 300 some readings right now, which it's
Wow.
a start. But my private people still call, so I still kind of Dick Van Dyke over here and Mary Poppins with all the instruments in my hands, playing the drums and the horns and all that stuff. But yeah, it's some days it can get challenging. My husband is psychic medium as well, and that's an interesting life itself. It truly is. It really is.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, I can't imagine it has to make it a little harder trying to do something like that over the phone.
It's actually so much easier because you
Really?
don't have to look at somebody. I'm not trying to be mean, but when you're around somebody, there's that essence of like psychic vampires,
Mm-hmm.
people draining your energy. And yes, they still can telephonically, metaphysically drain your energy, but it isn't as up in your face. And plus, I don't have to meet them at the Bellaire House to do readings. And I stopped having people come to my home to do readings because at the end of the reading, I would have to completely do frankincense and myrrh, kosher salt all throughout my house. And that was a daily routine. And then I was just like, this is my house. I can't do that anymore. This is my sanctuary. This is
Yeah.
where I need to rest. And so I stopped that. And it was a scary transition to take that leap of faith to take it on the telephone lines. It truly was. But I'm going to tell you, I was told to do it that way, not from a person with a pulse, but from spirit. And when I finally understood that and I accepted it and I believed it, it was like Jasmine on Aladdin. It was a whole new world. It was the best world, and it really was. It made life so much easier. And if I don't want to take calls, I don't have to.
Right.
I can do whatever I want to do. So like the whole bohemian inside of me, if I want to go outside and just, chill out in the sunrise or in the sunlight, or maybe bust open my guitar and play some songs, or just, again, watch TV, watch Netflix. I can do all of that stuff. But I still know the callers are going to be there. They're still going to be sitting there, and they're still going to be there. Now I don't take like weeks off. I might take a day off and then send a group message. Hey guys, I'm self-care today. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. And that works. And I found after 8 years, I found that way of making it a balance for everybody, including myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't envy having to do that. I mean, it's just it would have to be taxing, I think, on you mentally as well.
It is.
Just,
Yeah, I broke down about 2 years ago. I'll be honest with you. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm totally done being a psychic. I'm done being a medium. I'm done. And I actually went back to school to become a nail technician, and I got my degree to be a nail technician. Now I never did go get my state boards out of West Virginia, because I jumped back on the lines and I saw it was so much easier than actually waking up, getting ready, getting in my Jeep, driving 30 miles, sitting at a table for 8 hours a day, coming home, and who's going to take care of the animals? Who's going to do laundry on in between you know what I mean? So it was just
Right.
like, what was I just needed the break, and I needed to get off of those lines for like 11 weeks and be around people, like
Yeah.
cool people. Yeah. So, I mean, I got a degree out of it, a little certificate that says I can do nails, and I haven't done my nails, but
But hey. So let's see. So you're also the author of what? 2 books currently, and then it says you have another one on the way?
yeah, but I think the other one is actually going to be converted more into the thesis, because it was
Okay.
the third book was going to prove that there is life after death, from a scientific perspective. But when I had another opportunity to land on my lap, I was just like, we got to tweak this a little bit. We got to change this around, and let's just put the book on pause, and let's do the thesis. It's more important to do that for the metaphysical and paranormal community
I see.
than it is to just put out another book, for fun. No, we need to start making some waves here.
And then, because the 2 books that you currently have out, I have the ones, what is 1699 Belmont Street is the first one. Is that what it is?
That's the shittiest book in the world. Don't buy it.
Don't buy it. Well, that's not a good plug. What about the other one?
I will be brutally honest with you. No matter what, I don't care if you say, "Do I look fat in this dress?" Yeah, you do. You know what I mean? But,
Well.
No, that was my that book was never meant to be published. I wrote that book for the next homeowners of the Bellaire House when I walked away from the Bellaire House, and I self-published it. My son was an English major when he was still in college, and I was like, Ringo, why don't you edit this book for me? And he did a great job, but it wasn't. It's just everybody loves it. I mean, I'll tell you that a lot of people love that book, and they tell me I'm silly for saying that it's crappy, but it is. From a writer's perspective and an academic perspective, it's not a good book. Now the second one's a lot better. I will say I do like the second one because it's 13 ghost stories, and it's called
Ooh.
Paranormal Confessions.
Yeah, I
And
haven't
it's
got a chance to read it yet, but I want to, especially now that you said that.
Yeah.
Are they personal ghost stories of yours, or?
It's all of the data collection, and I picked the most. Well, and I've got 4 more of those to put out too, but I've got 5 years to do it. It's the most profound ghost stories. I hate to call them ghost stories because we know that's not really what it is, but for Hollywood, it's ghost stories.
Right.
So it's the most profound experiences that I've had with teams, and I'm featuring teams in each chapter. It's not all, because I'm all about helping everybody out. I really am. And there's so many people that are such good investigators, but they haven't been on a television show, so they can't get any recognition. So I'm going to make sure they get some recognition.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's insane how, there's a lot of teams of different paranormal investigators out there and stuff. And we loosely consider ourselves that. We generally tend to it's just basically the 2 of us. We just kind of tend to go with other people. But that kind of brings me, because I wanted to talk about, obviously, the Paranormal Apprentice. That's a newer show that you are doing. You want to kind of tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. I can't tell you. It's this, I know I look like a jack-o'-lantern right now, but it just makes me so happy. It really does. Because, okay, so we are, I'm working with a producer from LA. Her name's Amy Brooks. She's been in a lot of different movies. She's a real legit Hollywood actress, and her husband owns a casting company out of LA too. And we just fell in each other's laps. She asked for a radio interview, and I was like, well, let's not do a radio interview. Let's do something else. And she's like, okay. So that's really how that happened. It was just dumb luck, I guess. But 6 ladies, apprentices, are going to be coming in from various parts of the United States to come to the Bellaire House to live there for, I believe it's 9 days. And they're going to learn the ropes of paranormal investigation. They're also going to learn the ropes of metaphysics, psychic, getting more building more of that spiritual rapport so they can fine tune their psychic abilities as well as their mediumship abilities. And they're also going to learn some of the things of different multicultural diversities for religion. So, one day we might talk about Christianity, the next day we might talk about Buddhism, the next day we might talk about Wicca, we might talk about Strigeria, which is Italian witchcraft, we might talk about gypsies, and I hate to say it, but the Rama women, the Rama people, my people from Romania that practice magic, and now today we know them as gypsies, but that's kind of a derogatory thing to call them, but or to call us really. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. We've crewed up, we've done the cast call. We are starting filming on May 1st on Beltane. And then after we're done with that, then we're going to go straight into post-production, and we're going to start. We're actually doing a whole package, the whole season. So we're going to do that in 9 days. So we're going to be so busy.
Oh yeah, you're going to be busy
getting all of that together. I mean, we're going to be working probably 16, maybe 12 to 16-hour days. In shifts, of course, and stuff like that. But we do have we have everything ready to go for production, but post-production, we still have to raise some money. So we are going to be doing a Kickstarter. And that is going to be launched soon, very soon. And what's so cool about Kickstarter is that we have all these haunted objects that are from the Bellaire House, like original haunted objects from the Bellaire House that people can, if they feel that they want to see this come on, manifest this to something that will be picked up by TV, or, maybe Netflix, or fingers crossed here, if that all goes through, then they get this token of either a haunted doll, which is really haunted. We've got a possessed Boo Buddy. I mean, real talk. Our Boo Buddy does not shut up, and we've got him up there. I think we have we've got Jason Voorhees crochet doll that it's been in the Bellaire House for such a long time that it's collected all of this different types of energies from the different spirits in the house. And a lot of investigators have reported on every one of these dolls that you need to get rid of these dolls because it's tilting the energy of the house. We put our REM pods by it. We're collecting all these EVPs by these dolls, and it's probably best just to let them go. And I was like, what a perfect opportunity to let these dolls go.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only thing with that is, though, we do warn people that you are buying a legit haunted object.
You're probably going to make your home haunted, but hey.
Right. This is probably going to make your life turn upside down a little bit, and you cannot send it back. So we are not we tell everybody, well, at least I'm telling everybody on the videos that are, we're getting ready to launch. If you are an unseasoned, if you're a paranormal enthusiast, just an enthusiast, don't pick something different. You know what I mean? Find something else that is, maybe a nice vial of salt that will help cleanse you and remove negative energy from your magnetic field, right? Something like that. Or, iron nails, protection bags, or something like that, because we're going to have those up there as well. But I mean, but the concept of the show, I wrote the pitch deck, and so these girls are going to be staying in the Bellaire House, right? And they have little to no experience in the paranormal at all. So, I'm going to be there all the time and making sure that everybody's okay, which is going to be very tiring, but it's a job and I will do it. Mm-hmm. But I can't even predict who's going to leave. Will somebody actually say, see you later, I can't deal with this? Who knows? Maybe they'll all stay. We don't know yet. We just don't know until we get there. And what's so funny about it is here I am trying to write down our day to day, what we're going to do. And I'm just, and I stopped. I'm like, I can't write down. I can't predict what we're going to do in that house. That house is so unpredictable. Like, as a matter of fact, this weekend we were like, well, let's do a communication session in the seance room. And then we'll split up groups. I mean, we had this great plan, right? Well, 15 minutes into the communication session, it just set us back 3 hours because all this information was coming through. A poor lady got so sick that she went outside, and I had to cleanse her, and I had to make her sit outside for a little bit of the time. Then she started to feel better, and then she came back in. It's just, you just don't know what's going to happen in that house in order to stay on a strict schedule. You just don't know. So, I mean, just that part of it alone, I think it's exciting. I can't wait to see what happens. I can't even imagine what's going to happen, but I know we're going to get everything on film. And what we're doing is we're also promoting not just, people that don't know anything about the paranormal, and I'm not trying to be a sexist or anything, but you see very few women. There's first of all, 80% of the paranormal investigators are women. Trust me, I know. I own a location, right? So we have women all of the time, right?
Right.
And I've made so many awesome friends, men and women, but predominantly, like the group that we had the other day, there was 2 men there. The rest were women. So, but we don't see a lot of women on TV. We don't.
It does tend to be more male. I mean, there's a couple women I could think of, but when I think majority, you're right. It definitely is at least 80% men you probably see on television.
Yeah. So it's time for the girls to be able to have a chance here. It truly is. It's time for them to rise and be, put in that spotlight. And I'm just so excited that all of us as a paranormal community, we have an opportunity to finally do this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's when you get to know me more, you understand it's not my house, it's our house. It's our Afterlife Research Center. It's not my show, it's our show. It's just the way that I am. Whatever I have, I want to be able to share. I want to be able to divvy it up and share. But I think it's going to be so cool. Sometimes I lay in bed at night and I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen.
Right.
And then I was like, well, what if this happens to Katie? And then what if this, because Katie's one of the cast members. And then, well, what if this happens to the cat girl? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if that really does happen? And then sometimes I'll chuckle and I'll giggle. And then Tenacious D songs will go through my head like, I'm the devil, I love metal. It's like, all of this crazy stuff when I'm trying to go to sleep,
Right? Oh, yeah.
But it's exciting. It's so exciting. And I think that, once it's over with, and how we get ourselves geared up to go to investigation, and then we're on our way home and we're like, ugh, now what? It's like, hurry up. And then it's over. And now what?
Yeah. Usually by the time we're done, we're just tired and cold. We were just at a Randolph County infirmary over the weekend, and that was a place. I don't know if you've had the chance to go there or not, but it's a lot. That place was. It's very big, and there's like a million terrible things that's happened there. So
yeah, well, yeah, you'll have to get a hold of Mike Simpson. He's done a lot of. Mike Simpson's like my right hand. He's actually showed me a lot of paranormal ropes too, believe it or not. But he talks about Randolph Infirmary a lot. That's one of his favorite locations. So maybe check him out and talk to him and see what you guys can come up with, because he's always on the go. He's like a paranormal road warrior.
Yeah. There's a lot of places I'd love to go, but man, work sometimes. The 9 to 5 gets in the way of that a lot, but we're working on getting more of those places. So one thing I wanted to ask, so the Paranormal Apprentice, so like after the 9 days, do they get is there almost like a reward or something for the participant? Yeah. Is that like a...
Yeah, sorry, I got off subject. Thank you.
No, you're okay.
I do that a lot. Just reel me back in. No, they will have a graduation. We're going to see who makes it to graduation.
Who makes it all 9 days.
Yeah, and then we're actually going to have a ceremony. But when they get there will be some things that they get for graduating too. It won't be a certificate or anything. It's probably good. Don't make fun of me, but I have a lot of friends. It's going to be like witches' brooms.
I mean, that's cool.
Shadows.
I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would be into it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost. It's almost. When I was writing this right here, I envisioned. Well, let's do it like the Wizard of Oz. Here we'll give Dorothy her broom. We'll give the Cowardly Lion his courage, and we'll give the Tin Man his heart. Because every one of them is probably going to have some type of similarity to a character that we could, make something to where this is tailored to you. This, you did it. Here's your graduation, all of those things. So it's just going to be so much fun. I'm so stoked about this. I can't believe this is happening.
It does sound, yeah, it does sound like a lot of fun. I'm super interested. And so right now you don't know exactly where it's going to be airing at when it's done, though. That's still up in the air.
Not yet. No,
Okay.
we have some irons in the fire, but I can't say.
Right.
But I'm hoping that I can sit back on my chair and put on dun 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 Netflix. That's what I'm hoping for.
That would be great.
But I don't know.
That would be great.
We
Yeah.
don't know. Well, we're going to Transylvania.
Oh, yeah, that was another. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's crazy. It's just like, what happened to this year? It's like boom, 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 boom.
yes, one busy year. When are you going to Transylvania?
Well, do you remember Maria, who founded National Ghost Hunting Day, world's largest ghost hunting day? She actually made it a calendar day. Maria Schmidt. She called me one day and she's like, I have a great idea, because she also has a whole earth. Like, she travels the world and she takes on different people in the paranormal world to travel and be ambassadors for like Ireland, Scotland, Wales, now Hawaii, now Transylvania. So she called and she said, do you want to go to Transylvania? And I'm like, yes. But I didn't know anything else. All I knew was, hey, we're going to Transylvania, right? So then as weeks go on, she's like, guess what we're going to do in Transylvania? And I said, what? She says, we're going to investigate and have a 4-course meal at Dracula's castle. And I'm like, shut up. It's like, this is a dream, right? Yeah. So then we're going to be going on a whole bunch of other different locations of castles. The one castle, you have to like walk up all of these steps. My friend Mark Feuder wrote a song about it. I can't remember what it's called, though, that castle. I'm so sorry. I should know this, but I don't. And I don't have my notes in front of me. But and plus it's in a different language, so I wouldn't be able to pronounce it anyway. So. Right. But it's that castle. So we're going there, and supposedly that's where Vlad was actually beheaded there. Okay. From what I understand. I don't know if it's valid or not, but that's what I've heard through other investigators, not Maria, but other investigators. And then we're going to the Witch's Pond, which is pretty cool. We're going to go to the haunted Romanian forest. And I have watched some Amazon Prime documentaries on that. That place that gives me the heebie-jeebies, first of all. And it takes a lot to get me scared nowadays, but that does. I think that the scariest part of it is actually getting on that plane and being on the plane for 18 hours. That is
a long flight. Yeah.
So I'm probably going to have to get some Valium and
yeah. Yeah, that's a wow, that's a long flight. But
that is a long flight.
I know, I'm so scared. So my husband and my son are going with me. And then our dear friend Mike Simpson, he's going to go with us. And I think my son is going to bring his best friend who lives in Virginia. So he's going to drive here, and then they're going to go with us.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely
be a family holiday. Yeah, but we just had a meeting today with our contact in Transylvania. His name is Dan Nichols. And he's Romanian, and he looks so much like my dad. It's like a spitting image. It's like I thought I was talking to my dad for a minute. I just couldn't believe it, because my dad's side of the family is from there. So he's going to be meeting us at the airport. He's going to be traveling with us, so we can have somebody that is from there with us, which is a lot more secure now. Because I did have a lot of anxiety about this. I truly did. It's not just a plane ride, but here we are, Americans in a different country, and our world's a little bit different nowadays. Right. It's not what it used to be. And but knowing that he's there and seeing him and feeling that energy from him, it calmed my nerves so much. Good. But yeah, it's going to be so much fun. I think there's 36 people that can go. Maria said that it's selling pretty quick. And the cool part about it, she's so super cool. I think you put down like $100 for the trip, and then you make payments for a year on it. and it includes all of your meals, it includes your lodging, and you get to stay in the castles and other lodging hotels and stuff like that too. But of course, you have to buy your airfare to get there. But I mean, my gosh, look at the tickets. The tickets are nothing right now. I think the last time I checked, about 2 weeks ago, a round trip ticket was like $500 per person to get to.
Yeah, that's not too bad considering the
not
length
bad.
of that flight. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty
because
decent. Yeah.
airfare is still men's on the airfare
Yeah.
because of our world, but I'm sure it's going to go up soon.
Oh
though,
God, yeah,
so.
you're going to see a boom like you've never seen before at some point here in the next year or so. Yeah. But yeah, that just sounds like such an amazing opportunity, and
it's going to be a vigorous tour. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Like Maria, you would think she's 19 years old, and she's not. She's in her 60s, and she's like, we're doing this. We've got 12-hour days. We're going to start at 8 a.m. You better have your breakfast by 7. You better be ready by 6. And we're not coming home until 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh my God.
Just castles and haunted forests all day. Just.
But imagine, let's think about it. Like World War I. I mean, there was a lot of horrible things that happened in that area. Oh gosh, I even hate to think about it, but the people that were murdered, the people that were sterilized, the people, we're going to be dealing with all of that types of energy. And plus, there's parts of Dracula's castle that I learned today that haven't been investigated, and we're going to be investigating. There's one castle, and I wish I could pronounce it, but I can't. I'll get it in a few months. I promise I will, because I have no choice. It's my job. I have to. Right. But nobody's ever investigated it before. We'll be the first.
Well, that has to feel special.
To do it. Yeah. So then too, we are going to be live broadcasting from there through Spirit Realm Network. Jim Williams is out of the Bay Area in California, and I met him probably a year ago, and my husband and I used to do a show with him called Psychic Supernatural. We did it every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But after a while, he just became a big part of our family, and he actually has come to the Bellaire House, and we've done live broadcasts from the Bellaire House. He uses equipment like ESPN uses. So, I mean, he has these converters and all this high-tech stuff that I don't know about. I don't know how to say it, but he makes it happen. So he's going to be tagging along with us and doing live broadcasts with us in Dracula's castle. So people that aren't going will be able to watch it. And the other parts of I think we're going to Budapest too. I think that's on the tour as well. So it isn't just all based on Dracula's castle. That's like where we're gonna have the big shebang, but there's other areas that we'll be in as well. But when I was talking to our tour guide, Dan, today, I was like, Dan, I said, what if, because he doesn't know about like the Stephen Huff's portal. He doesn't know about, spirit boxes and stuff like that. I said, so, if we're investigating and there's a spirit that's coming through speaking Romanian, are you gonna, if you understand it, will you be able to translate through spirit?
You translate the ghost source.
Yes. So we have a plan.
That's fun. Having a translator for the spirits. That's just fantastic. But just to kind of close out here, so yeah, where can people find, if they're interested in like reading the books or whatever, where can they go to find that?
You could always look on the Bellaire House Facebook page, but if you go to Weiser Red Wheel Hampton Roads Publishing, it should be on there. Now they're on pre-order. Paranormal Confessions will be out August 1st. Okay. And if you go to Barnes & Noble, if you go to, what are the other bookstores that are online? Oh, they're going to be so
Amazon. That's a big one.
What is it? Amazon?
Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon's there. Yes. It's on Amazon. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. Okay. Oh, Jesus, help me think of the other ones so they don't get mad at me.
I'm not sure of too many of them.
Sold a lot of pre-orders. But on my Facebook page, if you scroll down past all the Paranormal Apprentice stuff, you can read the first, I think, 2 chapters of the book.
Awesome.
Put out a digital copy where you could read up to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is insane. Let me just tell you, chapter 2 is crazy. It gets crazier as it keeps going. Like It
Well, it definitely
insane.
sounds like an interesting read, and I assume people can just go and follow you on Facebook then too to keep up to date with
Yeah.
Paranormal Apprentice and the books and the Bellaire
Hmm.
House and whatever else, what other shenanigans you're going to Transylvania or you're up to.
Oh, I know. We're going to get all this in before I turn 60, right?
Right.
It's too
It's
far
gonna
away.
2021 sounds like it's just gonna be a big year for you. So
I think so. I mean, we all were like Rip Van Winkle in 2020.
right. So this needs to be the makeup year, I guess. But
Yeah, it's like all of us have to work double time now.
right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. It was very good talking to you, though.
Thank you both for having me. Thanks for spending the evening with me. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
absolutely. It was very interesting. And like we said before, if you're interested in any of the things, there'll be links in the below. You can follow her on Facebook and check out the books and all the other fun, creepy stuff that Kristen's doing.
Well, thanks, Kristen, for joining us here, and very informative.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. I can't actually kind of want to read some of her books, and I want to see this show. Hopefully, it gets picked up.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like an interesting concept. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure you check out the links below. We'll put some of her stuff here and some of our stuff as well.
Yep.
And do all the likes and shares and all that fun jazz.
Exactly. If this is something you like, if you're new to this podcast, we put out a new episode every Friday. It's not always interviews. Sometimes we do scary stories. Sometimes we do facts. Usually, always revolving around creatures, or haunts. That's kind of the thing. But yeah, I think that was a good interview. And if you are watching and you are someone in the paranormal field and you would like to be on the show, send us a message on Facebook, comment on YouTube, whatever you want. If you're just listening to us on the podcast, again, all the links to contact us are there as well. And again, make sure you check out the stuff that Kristin is working on if you have any interest at all. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably do.
For sure. I would hope, unless you just kind of
just
accidentally stumbled on us and
just decided to listen for like an hour, but then I would think you have become interested. So there you go.
You never know. Happy accidents, just like Bob Ross would always say.
Exactly. But thank you very much for listening and or watching, and we will see you in the next.
Bye.